Hallo von der Reno Capture, das was man hinter mir sieht, da, das sind die Falklandinseln. Starkes Kontrastprogramm, gestern Überlebensbedingungen vor Cap Horn, heute Flaute bei den Falklands. Wie zweimal 20 Knoten haben sie auch getan, aber naja, so ist es nun mal halt. Ja, und jetzt müssen wir uns überlegen, welche Taktik wir für den Südatlantik angehen. Wir werden höchstwahrscheinlich ein bisschen die argentinische Küste hochsegeln und versuchen innerhalb des St. Helena Hochs uns da hochzumogeln, um noch ein bisschen Distanz nach vorne wieder gut zu machen. Mal sehen, ob das klappt. In 2-3 Wochen ein bisschen mehr. Okay, bis dann. Tschüss.
So the overview of the fleet today, clearly showing how well Chemini Pujola are doing in the steady northeasterly trades. Upwind just now, a little bit of banging and slamming, not pleasant on board in terms of life for Bernard Stamm and Jean Le Cam. Off Recife in the easterly trades approaching the equator, Neutrogena and Gaius. Lighter breezes, unsettled fickle conditions just now for One Planet One Ocean and for We Are Water. A little more distance between the two now. And north of the Falklands, well, the South Atlantic is looking complicated for Jorg Rieters and for Sebastian Odegan. And approaching the Cape Horn, the exit from the Pacific, we have Spirit of Hungary, Nandor Fa and Conrad Coleman in strong westerly breezes. Will have to jibe downwind towards Cape Horn with 800 miles to go today. This is Friday the 13th of March and the leaderboard for the Barcelona World Race shows Chemini Pujola still making steady upwind progress in the northeasterly trades. 11.4 knots on the speed gun this morning at 9 o'clock. Neutrogena have gained over 100 miles again over the last 24 hours relative to the leaders. Neutrogena, Guillermo Altadil and Jose Munoz today making 17.5 knots this morning, and so too they are moving further clear of Gaius Centros Auditivos today. Ana Corbea and Gerard Moran making 13.7 knots. Then We Are Water, One Planet One Ocean, roughly the same kind of speeds again. In fact, One Planet One Ocean a little bit quicker this morning. Reno Capture still steady, 11.2 knots this morning, 9.6 knots over the last 24 hours, and approaching Cape Horn 15.2 knots is a good average for Spirit of Hungary, Nandor Fa and Conrad Coleman.
Et au près, on est au près, on est entre 12 et 18 nœuds de vent, quoi, 12 et parfois 20, quoi, mais pas, on a la mer de face parce que le vent la donne très gentiment, mais ça veut dire que du coup le vent tourne petit à petit en direction de la mer de face, quoi. Voilà. Donc on est penché, ça tape pas mal. Voilà, autrement c'est nuageux, il fait moins chaud. Ah bah la stratégie elle est quand compliquée hein, parce que le vent va tourner tellement lentement qu'on va continuer à faire du frais. Voilà, et puis bah, jusqu'à Gibraltar, là c'est un peu loin parce que ça dépend un petit peu de comment se passe l'anticyclone. Ça dépend si on commence à tirer des bords avant les Canaries ou vers les Canaries ou plus loin, quoi, voilà. Au niveau météo, ouais, je pense que c'était pas mal. On a eu un sud quand même très venté, ça s'est pas remarqué, mais on a eu beaucoup de vent, quoi. Autrement, sur l'ensemble, ouais, on a de la réussite, je pense. Faut juste que ça continue. Là, on avait un peu oublié comment c'était le près, quoi. Là, c'est pas très rapide et penché. Je pense toujours un peu, hein, mais là c'est encore loin. Là on est à l'échelle du Tour du Monde, donc ça se rapproche forcément, quoi. Mais il y a encore plus de distance qu'une route du Rhum, donc c'est encore vachement de route, quoi. C'est plus une curiosité ou une cerise sur le gâteau qu'un objectif, quoi. Donc c'est vraiment pas l'objectif, quoi. L'objectif c'est d'essayer de finir le tour comme il faut et d'essayer de le gagner.
Situation improving for Chamonix-Puigdemont today. The breeze, the northeasterly trades are veering for them as they head north, and so whereas yesterday we were looking at a situation where they would have to make 2 or possibly 3 more tacks to get to the Straits of Gibraltar, now it's less complicated. It's looking like they'll be able to continue upwind all the way on the same tack to just about 150, 160 miles south of the Azores. Then they'll tack for a ley line into the Straits of Gibraltar. So we spoke with Bernard Stam this morning. He said that in that case then, Friday the 13th has been lucky for them. The weather situation has improved since yesterday. He said that they'd more or less forgotten what it was like to sail upwind because it's been all downwind since the southeasterly trades on the way down, and even then they weren't too bad. But so it's life is a little bit unpleasant upwind. It's banging and slamming, but the seas will align a little bit better for them in the next 24 hours as the breeze lifts. Distance to go, well, there's still a fair bit for them. In fact, he said there's more than a route to Rum, so in terms of a round the world race, then it may feel like it's getting closer to the end, but there's still a fair distance to the finish. And so once again, talking about vigilance and just saying, taking nothing for granted on Chamonix-Puigdemont.
Our conditions now are quite stable. We have between 10 and 15 knots of wind from the 90. So we are sailing north quite fast, not as fast as Neutrogena, unfortunately. And for the next day, the forecast is quite the same. So we are not expecting big changes, or it will be difficult to do something to gain some miles because the conditions are very stable, and what we only can do is go fast, and this is what we are doing. Yeah, now is everything okay, but we begin to feel that we have been sailing for a long time because some systems begin to fail. Yesterday we have a problem with the water maker, and it stops doing fresh water, and the water became very salty, so we had to change a lot of things on the water maker, and now it's working. So we spent 3 hours to change everything, but now it's working, it's okay, so we are happy, and we are 100% again. No, it's just a little bit boring now because we have a lot of time with nothing to do. We are well rested, we eat a lot, and so we have some time that we don't know what to do. We are lucky because we have some books to read, and this is what we do when we are very bored. But it's not hard. It's nice. The weather is perfect. It's hot, and the sea is flat. It's like almost in the Balearic Islands.
So it looks like a reasonable run-in for Spirit of Hungary heading towards Cape Horn. They probably have a couple of jibes to go. But Nandor Fa saying in his blog that they expect to have 30-35 knots of westerly wind almost all the way into the Cape Horn itself. Then they expect a breeze to lift and lighten slightly, but that's obviously looking quite far ahead. They're still at 850 or 800 miles to go to Cape Horn. Situation in the South Atlantic looking pretty complicated for Renault Captur, for Jorg Reachers and for Sebastian Odegan. They're sailing a fairly easterly course today in a northeasterly wind, but it's really going to be quite unsettled, unstable breezes for them for a while. They should, in fact they're upwind, but should get into downwind better conditions tomorrow. But overall the situations with 2 developing high pressures in the South Atlantic mean that it's going to be quite slow there for Renault Captur. Situation fairly stable between the Catalan Imocas, We Are Water, and One Planet, One Ocean Pharmaton. They're not particularly fast in the South Atlantic, but looking about to be the equator around about the 22nd of March. And Anna Corbea saying that they have good stable conditions this morning, but unfortunately Neutrogena just a little bit quicker.
Para hidratar los liofilizados, para disolver la leche en polvo, para hacer un café, para hacer un té y para conseguir agua para hidratarse a uno mismo, necesitamos agua dulce, y necesitamos agua dulce para más de 100 días de navegación. Es evidente que no la vamos a cargar a bordo, lo que vamos a hacer es utilizar una potabilizadora. La potabilizadora lo que hace es transformar el agua salada en agua dulce. Lo hace a través de un proceso natural, invirtiendo un proceso natural llamado osmosis. Le llamamos osmosis inversa. Es muy simple. Lo que hacemos es proporcionar al agua la presión suficiente para que atraviese una membrana semipermeable que retiene la sal. Con anterioridad hemos hecho circular el agua por unos filtros que desinfectan el agua. Lo que le pedimos a la potabilizadora es que con el mínimo consumo eléctrico nos proporcione el agua necesaria a bordo. De media, una tripulación de 2 personas necesita 8 litros al día. Con esto cubrimos el agua necesaria para hidratar los liofilizados, el agua necesaria para beber y un mínimo de agua para la higiene personal. Llevamos una potabilizadora principal, además nosotros le llamamos de respeto, es una potabilizadora de recambio entera montada, y para el peor de los escenarios, que sería que esas 2 potabilizadoras sufrieran una avería, la organización obliga a los navegantes a cargar con 18 litros de agua que les permitirían, en el peor de los casos, sobrevivir hasta la llegada del auxilio.
Situation for Barcelona World Race for today. Pujula is still in good condition of trade wind, with northeast trade wind will be a little bit more consistent between Cape Verde and Canaries, and so a long tack to close to the Azores before taking to the latitude of Gibraltar. We can expect Cheminée Pujula around 21 of Mars at Gibraltar. Neutrogena and Gaes are still in good condition of trade wind, southeast trade wind, more consistent, around 18-20 knots of wind. So they have a good way to equator now, and we could expect Neutrogena 14 of March and 24 hours later for Gaes. So very close to equator and to the transition zone from equator. One planet, one ocean, and we are water are still close to the ridge, and they have to do a little east again before going to the north. They will have more difficulties, no so speed way to go to equator, but we can expect them around 22 Mars to equator for these 2 boats. Renault is still with northeast wind, and he will have to do to the east also, because very little and very variable wind close to the Brazilian coast. So he need to go really to the east a little bit at the same way of the 2 boats in front, and going to equator later. Spirit of Hungary is still in west condition. Rough weather, 35, 40, maybe a little bit more in the gust, so very good speed for Spirit of Hungary to go to Cape Horn. It will be obliged to do around 2 or 3 jibe maybe to be to Cape Horn. We can expect Spirit of Hungary the 15th of March. It still have 850 nautical miles to go to Cape Horn.